images there from that massive earthquake. We saw one house kind of pancaked on itself, but that is a rare scene in Japan. These building codes are strict over there. And when you saw the video inside some of the buildings when the earthquake struck, swaying dramatically from side to side, that's what they're supposed to do.
That's right. They're built that way.
And
in fact, while the 1995 earthquake in Kobe was very damaging, really the buildings that had been built since 1981, which is when they came in with these strict standards, have done really well.
Yeah, and so that's what gives sort of the added drama to the moment when the earthquake struck, is you see all of these walls go back and forth, and you think there's no way this building is going to withstand.
And it ends up standing. Sometimes they end up crooked, but they do stand. We're going to talk about that, by the way, later in the show, the engineering that you have to go through to try and protect a place from a damaging earthquake. Now, beyond those aftershocks and the tsunamis of Japan's earthquake, how does this disaster affect the rest of the world? From markets to energy production, it is possible that this earthquake may have a long and lasting effect on those of us thousands of miles away. Christine Romans has been following this very closely from New York. Christine, depending on how you count it, Japan is largely, it's thought of as the third largest economy in the world. If you think of Europe as one big economy, then Japan becomes the fourth. But it's a massive economy that influences all of us.
It's a $5.5 trillion economy, Allie, and you're absolutely right. We're still trying to understand the human toll here. It'll be days, weeks even before we know that, but we know that this is a huge modern economy with huge modern infrastructure. It's the world's third largest importer of oil. And so one of the reasons why you're seeing oil prices actually down today a little bit, Allie, they fell below $100 a barrel, is because the idea is that demand, at least in the very near term, is going to be down because the world's third largest oil importer is paralyzed as it tries to deal with this big crisis. The Nikkei is the stock market index there. It was only open for a short time after the hurricane struck and then before the markets closed for the day. You can see that big decline there when that happened. And then the futures market, so the Nikkei futures still are open. Those have been drifting lower and drifting down as well. So, you know, some of the people, the traders I talked to you guys were saying, a lot of people couldn't place orders. The phones weren't working. There was such a short time in Japan to respond to all of this. So we know that there still could be some after effects there, but U.S. stocks have moved up a little bit here. I want to talk about the oil refineries burning. We saw one picture of that. You were talking about the nuclear power plant that had been an evacuation around it. Look, we're going to talk about the energy infrastructure of this country. We'll be 4 million people without power right now. All of this, something we're closely watching. Also, closely watching Sendai Airport, where in the northern part of the country, you saw those pictures as well with people on top of the roof. This airport is closed. Narita is now open again for some flights have been allowed out, but mostly because there are all these people stuck there. The highways are closed going into the major airports. The railways are closed as well. So you have long lines, people trying to figure out how to get out of that airport. Some flights have been allowed out. But again, this is one of those things. This is a big economy, $5.5 trillion economy. It is a big global player in the global economy. This is, even as the human toll is something that we're so focusing on right now. This is a story that will be an important story for all of us.
You and Hala and I all talk about the business of it. Japan is a major consumer of oil, which is why we saw the drop in oil. But ultimately, this isn't a society destroyed. For all of the damage that's been done, we're not looking at Haiti. We're looking at a place where a lot of buildings, as you point out, remain standing. And Japan has the industrial infrastructure to get up and going fast. So where markets started the day across the world off by so much, the reality is they will get back on their feet, rebuild very quickly.
Usually one's perspective sinks in.
Right, it starts
this one, and you have futures kind of go back up and things like that. And the price of oil, I think,
they can rebuild.
And that rebuilding will mean that it will be a big consumer of natural resources and commodities as they begin to rebuild. It will mean jobs and activity and economic growth as well down the road. But you guys, that's a story for days and weeks ahead. You know, the story today is still unfolding. You're right.
Christine Romans, thanks very much. Speaking of the story this minute, at 8:30 a.m. local, and so we're 14 hours behind here Eastern time. So it's right now 3:51 a.m. local in Tokyo. We understand that will be when the next meeting of the Japanese Government Emergency Task Force will take place. The Prime Minister Khan, who is currently visiting the quake-hit areas, will be returning to Tokyo in order to take part in these emergency meetings. This is according to the the Kyoto News Agency.
So that's about 4.5 hours from now. And as Christine was saying, the airport, Narita, is not closed for any reason that there's any damage there.
Right.
They've just got congestion, so they're trying to get flights out. It's the equivalent of what you might know as a ground stop here in the United States. They're not letting a lot of flights take off to head to Tokyo, but there have been some cancellations there.
All right. Well